You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com. This episode is sponsored by Demand Derivatives, a startup futures exchange and clearinghouse trading the world's major assets in a creative new way. You already trade on an exchange. Here is your chance to own one. Before they approach large strategic partners for funding, the pioneering team at Demand Derivatives launched a crowdfunding portal so that regular traders have the chance to buy shares. Learn more and become a part of this revolutionary fintech project now at demandderivatives.com/crowdfunding. Bitcoin, Ether, Ripple, Litecoin, and more. Cryptocurrencies and other digital assets are taking the financial world by storm. This exploding market provides everything a savvy trader needs: volatility, volume, and liquidity. Provided you know how to find it. That's where we come in. Welcome to the Crypto Rundown. Each week we'll break down the latest trading activity, trends, and developments on everything from coins to tokens, futures, and even OTC options. If it's moving the crypto markets, then you'll find it on the Crypto Rundown. This program is brought to you by Genesis Volatility, also known as GVol, home of institutional-grade crypto options analytics. Whether you're trading CeFi options or DeFi options, cryptocurrencies move. Use GVol Analytics to analyze implied volatility, model realized volatility, structure positions, and unlock alpha. For more information, visit gvol.io. That's GVOL.io. Now it's time to dive into the exploding world of cryptocurrencies and digital assets. It's time for the Crypto Rundown.
All right, everybody. Welcome to a very special episode of the Crypto Rundown. Not going to look ahead. Instead, we're going to look back and see what really resonated with you guys during this mad, crazy, insane year that was 2020. Which episodes, which topics, which discussions really hit home with you folks? We went and crunched the numbers, looked at the entirety of the year to see which episodes you guys downloaded the most, you streamed the most, and we've crunched the numbers to do our top 5 hot countdown here of Crypto Rundown episodes for 2020. So if you're ready, let's kick off our journey here. Number 5 for the year of madness that was 2020. Your number 5 episode of the Crypto Rundown was actually episode 75. It was Debunking Crypto Correlation, and that came out on September 14th of last year. We did kind of a quick hit on that episode, coming in, kind of knocking out some interesting discussions. Bitcoin at the time had taken a bit of a drubbing. It was, look at this price now, seems so modest compared to where it is right now. It was at 10,664. It was down 1,063, so quite a sell-off from the week before. And ETH come into that show was at 373.52, down 62. Oh, a far cry from where they are right now, listeners. Roughly 3x for each of those. So quite a few months we've had in the crypto space since September 14th. At the time, you also had an interesting listener question which prompted a lot of discussion. The question was, are Bitcoin futures truly uncorrelated to equities? And we got into a nice breakdown of all the different correlations, some surprising ones you could find over there across the different asset classes. If you want to crunch the numbers for yourself, the best way to do it is head on over to the reports for our TWIFO program, cmegroup.com. crypto.com/TWIFO. Click on the cryptocurrencies section, and you can then compare them to some of the other assets. You may have to upgrade to the premium to get the true cross-asset correlation, but that'll give you some frame of reference for how the Bitcoin reference rate futures at CME, how they compare just about every other trading product over there at CME. And they trade pretty much everything else, so it's a good sense for how it fares against other assets. And we actually did break it down for you on TWIFO as well for our 2020 year in review special, really. So check out that episode as well of TWIFO, This Week in Futures Options, listeners. That will answer your question. We also asked you guys the question. Bitcoin was the big dog, obviously, then, but that won't always be the case. Which product do you think will be the next big hit with crypto derivatives traders? And you guys chose ETH overwhelmingly, 62%. All right, let's move on now to our number 4 episode here for your hot 5 episodes of the Crypto Rundown for 2020. Coming in at number 4 was episode 69. That aired on July 27th of last year. Our guest on that show was Josh Lim, the head of derivatives trading over there at Genesis Trading. So not Genesis Volatility, a lot of Genesises, a lot of Genesi in the world of crypto. This was from Genesis Trading. At the time, Bitcoin was moving yet again. It had surged 1,600 handles. It was at about 10,841 as of this show. So it had just broken through the 10,000 level yet again. So that's probably why this show really resonated with a lot of you. It hadn't seen that level since early June. And so it's been a while since we had seen that 10,000 level yet again. ETH was also had a good move, up 84.3 handles. It got to about 323.26 as of that show. So fascinating time breaking through that 10,000 level yet again. A great guest. Probably why that episode really resonated with you guys out there. We also discussed the 5th anniversary of ETH. That was on that program in our crypto questions segment. Now let's move on here to number 3, episode 71. Our ETH and Bitcoin, the Yahoo and AOL of crypto. Interesting title, maybe a little bit divisive. It aired on August 10th of last year. We were joined on that episode by John Pearlstone from CryptoPatterns.net. Have him back on the show. Have to get him back on to pick his brain about how all these insane movements have been treating those folks out there. Obviously an interesting time from a technical perspective out there. At the time of this show, though, going back to August 10th, Bitcoin was up about 500 handles, had just broken through the 12,000 level that week and had given it a little bit back up. It was about 11,893 as of showtime. ETH also had a decent run, but nothing near where Bitcoin had. It was up about 4 handles from the previous week. It was threatening the 400 level, 397 as of showtime. We also talked about some interesting volume going up in Chainlink out there on the altcoin universe. That was coming on our radar at that time. And also kind of the interesting discussion we got to about whether, ETH and Bitcoin are kind of the stepping stones, the paving of the way to the other names. That's why the allusion to AOL and Yahoo, 2 big names in the early days of the tech boom, but not really names you talk about much anymore. They've been usurped by other names. Will ETH and Bitcoin suffer a similar fate, or are they kind of the standard bearers for many years to come? I guess we'll find out. Out there, also, we talked about some of the questions about when we'll be able to trade these things on all the major brokerage platforms out there. All right, then moving on with our countdown, the number 2, the penultimate episode in terms of popularity of the Crypto Rundown for the mad year that was 2020 is episode 72, Bulls Out in Force in Crypto. This episode was released on August 17th of last year. It's just a week after our number 3 episode on the countdown. And on this episode, we discussed a decent move in Bitcoin, up nearly 500 handles, 499 to be precise, but it broke the 12,000 mark this week. It actually was at 12,393 as of the start of our show. So a pretty lofty level at that time. Looks kind of quaint in retrospect. Now, ETH also had a good run, up nearly 45 handles from the previous week and trading at about 442 on the show. In terms of volume, it was a pretty light week overall. We had seen the previous episode number 3, we saw big days on Deribit, 527 million worth of notional. Nothing quite like that on this episode. Only about 244 million worth of notional going up on the most active day on Deribit. So decent price movement, not a lot of action overall on the options. All right, and moving on now to our number one episode of the year for the Crypto Rundown, the mad year that was 2020. What did you guys download, stream, and listen to the most? It was episode 70, Ether. That was released on August 3rd of last year. What did we talk about on that show? Well, Bitcoin had another good run, up about 558 points that week, trading at 11,399 as of showtime. We also saw a pretty sizable volume explosion in the weeks leading up to that episode. We broke that down on the show. Of course, we had our guest joining us there, Greg Magadini, the co-founder over there at Genesis Volatility. He's been on the show once or twice over the course of the past year. We also discussed kind of a bit of a reverse of the usual trend. We always talk about, is Bitcoin the digital gold? On this episode, we talked about using gold as a proxy for Bitcoin. Kind of interesting. Check it out, even though a lot of you already did. And then we also talked, really for the first time, some big articles starting to hit the crypto media about Bakkt and what was going on there, particularly from an options perspective. Noting on that episode that Bakkt options really had flatlined since June 15th. No open interest had been created since then. So at that point, it had already been coming up on a couple of months. Now it's been, as we know, pretty much the latter half of the year. There was no options volume over there at Bakkt. So that's where the question really started circulating, what was going on with Bakkt from an options perspective. The futures still do some paper, the options not so much. And on the altcoin universe front, ETH up nearly 70 points that week, trading at 393.24. We also talked about ETH open interest was at an all-time high, despite the fact that July came off the board and took a lot of OI with it. And in general, talked about the idea that potentially the ecosystem of ETH could potentially now be worth more than ETH itself. An interesting, fascinating idea as we've watched all these offshoots and derivations of ETH kind of take a life of their own. It's been fascinating to watch that. And again, in the crypto questions, we broke down the Bitcoin as digital gold, going back the other way again, as well as the overall size of the Bitcoin options market and what Skew is telling us about the future of Bitcoin. So a lot of fascinating stuff. There you have it, listeners. Your top 5 list of the episodes of the Crypto Rundown that you guys streamed and downloaded and listened to the most. We really appreciate everyone out there who took the time to listen to our content, to download our app, to join us live, to send in questions. Whatever you did last year to engage with our content, we're deeply appreciative. You guys are the reason that we keep doing this after all. So keep those questions, keep those comments, keep those downloads, keep those ratings and reviews, keep all of it coming. And we'll look forward to seeing you for a still interesting, but hopefully maybe a little calmer 2021.
This program is brought to you by Genesis Volatility, also known as GVol, home of institutional-grade crypto options analytics. Whether you're trading CeFi options or DeFi options, cryptocurrencies move. Use GVol Analytics to analyze implied volatility, model realized volatility, structure positions, and unlock alpha. For more information, visit gvol.io. That's GVOL.io. This episode is sponsored by Demand Derivatives, a startup futures exchange and clearinghouse trading the world's major assets in a creative new way. You already trade on an exchange. Here is your chance to own one. Before they approach large strategic partners for funding, the pioneering team at Demand Derivatives launched a crowdfunding portal so that regular traders have the chance to buy shares. Learn more and become a part of this revolutionary fintech project now at demandderivatives.com/crowdfunding. You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or Search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/The Options Insider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com.